Hi, welcome to Blacticulate, a podcast series featuring UK young black professionals, where we find out how they do what they do, so you can too. Or not. After all, it is your life. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Blacticulate. As always, I really appreciate you guys joining us, because you could be doing anything in the world. So hopefully this episode is of value to you. And if it's not, we always value feedback. So please do get in touch. Now today's guest, he's awesome. His name is Lisimba Pink. And Lisimba Pink is an entrepreneur who's had many businesses start and fail. And within that, he's got so much learning, so much teaching. And his current venture is he's got a brand called Diversity All-Star Podcast. And Lisimba Pink really just gives us a thorough overview of how he got to this stage, what tools he uses, how he books talent, how he processes his podcast, and just how he's trying to raise the tide of black excellence, which he is slowly but surely doing. So without further ado, we bring to you Lisimba Pink. So guys, once again, welcome to another episode of Blacticulate. For those of you who don't know who we are, then I must be slipping. But no, if you don't know who we are a podcast series that features UK young black professionals, where we try to find out how they do what they do so you can too. And our guests are always phenomenal, right, Lisimba?
Yes, yeah, indeed.
So the voice you guys are hearing is Lisimba. Lisimba, you know how I do, because I hope you're a fan.
I am indeed.
Likewise, I'm a fan of yours. But for those who don't know who you are, hit us, and then we'll roll from there.
Sure. So my name's Lisimba Pink.
Is that actually your surname, Pink?
Yeah.
Because I always wondered about, is it? God.
Yeah, it's my real surname.
Where's that from?
You know, I don't actually know the full history. From what I've been told, of what I understand from my family, it's a slave surname, but I don't exactly know the full origins. I know my uncle's done some research into it, so I guess I should learn a bit more.
No, it's all good, man. If the past is hurtful, then the past is
Yeah.
Sorry, I totally derailed you, and I never derail my guests because, all right, guys, little caveat, like Lisimba's a good friend. We're buddies in this field. Sorry, I derailed you. Back to who you are. Tell our guests who you are.
No
Lisimba
problem.
Pink.
So yes, my name's Lisimba Pink. I also have a podcast as well called Diversity All-Stars, where I interview entrepreneurs every week. And I'm also an entrepreneur myself. I also had a business abroad in Ghana. And I found myself back in nice grey London, starting something new again.
Like, you had a business in Ghana. So are you from Ghana?
No. So I'm originally from Jamaica.
Okay.
And but I found
Born and bred, or
okay, so say I'm from Jamaica, but my parents were born there.
Right.
I was born here.
Where?
I was born in Central Middlesex. I don't know why it's taking me long to think about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Central Middlesex.
Anyone listening from there? Whoop, whoop.
But yeah, that's right.
Okay, so you're born there. Like, may I ask about your background? Like, when I say your background, family orientation.
Okay, so there's me and my brother. Both my parents, they are together. They're not married at the moment. But yeah, I guess I've had both my parents around me, and they're big influence in helping me
Shape the man you are today.
Yeah,
Are they entrepreneurial themselves? And what is an entrepreneur? Yeah, let's start with them. Are they entrepreneurial?
My dad, no.
But your mum's entrepreneurial.
Yeah, she's entrepreneurial. She had a business, which is called Busy Bee.
Busy Bee.
Yeah.
I love the name. I love the name.
And basically, so what it was it helped find nurses and carers for people that needed that at home. And unfortunately, I don't know the full reason, but I just know that, like, due to some financial trouble, the business collapsed.
Oh, really?
But I think it was a thing, it was too much for her to handle by herself.
Right.
It's unfortunate that she didn't start this now, because, like, I could help her, like, you know, let's just make
Does that play in your mind?
Yeah, you know, if I had perhaps been even if I'd been a teenager at the time, I could have helped her, like, kill with that business. Do you know what I mean? But being a child at that time, it was not in my control, not something I understood.
I get that. Because I'm just quite curious to know how much of that influence of your parent made you the man that we sit today? And is there like any stories you can tell?
So when I say that, like my parents are a great part of who I am today, I think that comes from their confidence in me.
Okay.
They don't trouble me. If I tell them this is what I want to do, this is what I'm going to go and do, like they believe that I'm going to do it, you know, and
It's a good sign of any parent. They should believe in their child.
yeah, but they never question me with doubt. I never hear doubt in their voice of like, am I going to achieve something? And what they do is they give me the freedom to fail. And I think that's a big part of it.
I personally don't know. What the hell's an entrepreneur? Define it first, please.
I guess an entrepreneur is somebody that won't stop at anything to reach their goal. That's how I defined it.
Okay.
And I think that it's somebody that wants to reach their goal, and they create an environment for them to win.
I know many people personally within my network, right, who they're in corporate positions where there's a rung for you to get into board level, and they won't stop at anything. They will bulldoze their way. They will step over people to get their positions. So in my head, I wouldn't personally call them an entrepreneur, but based off your definition, they are.
I think somebody that has the framework of corporate world or work, I don't think they're an entrepreneur.
Okay.
And I think when I say like create the environment for them to win, they're in control of their environment. While they're taking the steps towards working towards joining the board or anything like that, at any point in time, they're vulnerable of like, you know what, you're sacked today.
Right.
You know?
Okay, so they're not their own boss, for want of a better way to say it.
Yeah. So
Okay.
I think that you
Damien Dash, got to be your own boss.
100%. 100%. I think it comes down to as well being prepared to take the risk. Unless you're prepared to take that risk, you're not an entrepreneur.
Interesting. So let's talk about your risk taking and how
Sure.
and what entrepreneurial endeavors you've gone through before we really finally start talking about the podcast and the steps in building that. But entrepreneurial steps, I'm sure you had many businesses that probably grew and grew and decreased before,
Sure.
Intellipink came to fruition. So do you mind taking us through these? If you remember all of them.
I'll try and remember a few. My dad always reminds me actually that one time we went to Carnival and they were handing out whistles and stuff. So my dad always reminds me that I took a whole bunch of whistles because they were handing them out for free. I put them on my arm and I was walking around and said, yeah, whistles, £1, £1. I didn't actually sell any.
Okay.
But my dad always he says he saw something in me of like trying to make money. Do you know what I mean?
Okay.
Like any way that I can like make money. I was always about. I guess the most earliest thing that I tried to make a search engine or a search directory.
Oh, interesting.
This is before the days of Google.
Right.
For those I guess old enough to remember.
Yeah.
This is the days of when Yahoo was big.
The dial-up.
Yeah,
dial-up. For sure.
This was days of Hotbot, Lycos, Excite, all the web. Like,
right, I remember.
yeah. So that's how you.
So you're trying to build a search directory?
Yeah, basically.
How? Did you have the tech inside knowledge?
Basically, anything to do with like websites and stuff, I taught myself.
Right, gotcha.
And
but there wasn't YouTube in those days, neither.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
No.
But I remember there was loads of little websites with like code, or like I buy a book which might tell you how to code things in HTML.
Okay.
There was a website where basically I could get, if you call it the back end, and then I could put the fascia of it, if you like. So I'd build the website, and then I had some CGI backend that would manage the actual search functionality of the directory. The actual technology behind it, or the coding, was in CGI, but I didn't need to learn CGI. I never learned CGI. I just learned how to manipulate the code to do what I wanted to.
Right. Gotcha.
So,
okay.
And then my friend at the time, he also tried one. So that was a guy called Adam King that I went to school with. And
shout out.
Yeah, shout out to Adam.
I don't know. Are you friends still?
Facebook friends.
Okay, cool.
If you like. So he had his website, which was called Speed City, and I had my website, which was called Ice Fruit.
Ice fruit.
Ice fruit, yeah.
Okay.
So, and then, yeah, literally the directory was building, people were submitting their websites. I was adding people to the website.
For free?
Yeah, I was adding them to for free. The idea was, just to build as big a directory I could get. It was growing. Never got to the point in time where I monetized it. Then Google came along and, just stamped all over everything, and that's where I wrapped up Ice Fruit.
Right.
And it became no more. And I guess with Ice Fruit, I remember part of my ambition, my friend always reminds me of, and it's still one of my ambitions today, is that I want to create a huge tower.
Huge tower?
A
like
huge
a brick
tower
and mortar
block.
store? Okay.
Yeah. Not a store. This is my...
Residential?
This is going to be a mixture of residential, commercial, maybe with a hotel in there, some restaurants and stuff.
Okay.
And it's going to be Ice Fruit Tower.
Okay.
I
just kind of just imagine the Wayne Tower, Batman.
Wayne Tower, something similar to maybe what Trump Towers do.
Wow, we brought Trump in. Okay.
Yeah,
wow.
but this is the idea recently expanded to one of these towers in most international, not most, popular cities around the world and stuff. But
Ice fruit towers.
Ice Fruit Towers.
Okay, you heard it here first, guys.
There you go.
There you go. So is that the dream?
Yeah, I mean, when I say my friend reminded me, it's at the time I was big on it. I was big this search engines or search directory is going to be a huge thing, and I want a huge tower, and it's a goal I had. I've not realized it yet, and I will build my tower block.
So that was your first venture into the world of being an entrepreneur. Mm-hmm. Do you know, I'm really excited about this Ghana story. How that transpired. But hit me. Was there anything before that?
I guess there's perhaps one more notable thing that I tried to do.
Right.
So I tried to launch a magazine.
Okay.
And
on what?
It was called Manga Pulp.
Manga Pulp.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was basically in Japan. They consume a lot of manga, and I guess for anybody that doesn't know, manga is almost like their version of comics, so to speak. So I, read a lot of manga. I watch a lot of anime, which is the animated version of manga and stuff. And in Japan, they consume a lot of this daily. There's so much manga, and they have these thick magazines. They look like yellow pages, I guess. For the youngins these days don't know what yellow pages is. Yeah. It's like a thick book, with really thin pages. It's probably about 2 inches thick or so.
It's in yellow pages.
Yeah,
100%. Yeah, I mean it's the old school version of a directory. So you find any local trade. Yeah. You just go in there. It's a list format index, from A to Z. Yeah, but it's huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they have these big books like that, full of manga. But what's interesting about them is that it mixed popular culture in with the manga. So you might have pretty girls in there. You might have stuff about lifestyle and stuff. And then so these are the days in the UK where lads mags were big.
Right.
So that was Zoo and Nuts.
FHM.
Yeah. FHM, Maxim. It'd all be about guy stuff. Topless girls, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like, this works in Asia or works in Japan. Why not bring this idea to the UK?
Right.
Because I know loads of guys that be into manga and stuff, and like Nuts magazine and Zoo magazine were going off the chain at the moment. Why not combine them and make a magazine?
Right. Okay.
So this is the days before Kickstarter and Indiegogo and stuff.
To get money. Right. To crowdfund.
Basically.
Right.
So I was I didn't have the money to do this. I didn't have the expertise, didn't know nothing about the magazine industry, but I was I am making a magazine. Okay. I am going to put this out. And I remember my uncle, who used to own a newsagent, so he knew a bit about how I guess magazines are sold. Then he went to go work for a magazine, so he knew the back end. So I sat down with him to try and understand how the business works. And I remember he looked at me for an instant it's crazy, you know what it takes to go in and do a magazine. I was I'm gonna do it, straight face. And then I think he saw the seriousness in me, and then he basically explained what I need to do, and then I set about work.
Right.
You know.
Did you get anything published?
No.
Okay.
But
what were the hang-ups? How comes?
So basically, like, I had the first edition done.
Okay.
You know, so I managed to get manga. I had at that point in time the second largest distributor of manga outside of Japan, giving me material to feature in my manga magazine. I had models that I'd done photo shoots with.
You took the pictures yourself?
No. I had photographers.
Right. Okay. So
they'd taken the pictures.
You're pulling in your network.
Funny enough, at this time, I had no network.
Okay.
This was pure outreach.
Right. Emails, phone calls, doing meetups with people, just sharing my vision, people coming on board, and just making strategic alliances and partnerships with people brought this together. Right.
You know, so photographers that were on board, had the models there, had a graphic designer who designed the whole thing. I had
and you just sold them on your vision. You didn't pay them.
The vision.
Amazing.
So for some of the key people, what I did to get them on board is I did a profit share scheme.
Right.
So the intention was, we'll come on board, we're going to create this thing, and when it's out there, we're going to share all the profits together. And, I guess they believed in my commitment, and, they were fully on board.
Amazing.
I even had artists in China creating me some artwork. I had some other artists that supplied me manga from the States and stuff. I had people writing me content. I had a full edition ready to go.
You guys can't see Lisimba right now, but my man is practically bouncing off his chair. It seems like he's still very passionate about this.
Yeah, no, I guess I'm passionate about it. Maybe I'm jumping around here, but I feel that
it's awesome. It's palpable. I'm just, there's a wave of just when you're talking about it. Excitement.
Yeah, because I feel that if I had Kickstarter or Indiegogo now, this thing could have really exploded.
Right.
So I didn't launch it for financial reasons.
Gotcha.
So basically, everything was done, ready to go. And then I started to negotiate with the printers and the actual shops that were going to stock this magazine. Yeah. And then I started to realize this was the first time I learned about cash flow. So basically, I forgot exactly how many copies I was going to print, but I remember the spend for the first run was going to be about 5,000.
Right.
And then I found out that once I print this 5,000, I then give it to the shops to distribute or to sell.
Yeah.
So let's say that's the end of month 1. I give these magazines to the shop. The shop now have 30 days to sell it. So I come back to at the end of month 2, if you like, to collect my money, if you like.
Yeah.
However, they have 30 days to sell it. They now have another 30 days of 30 days to pay, payment terms.
Right.
At this point in time, I have to give them issue 2.
Yes.
So I'm now giving the printer another 5,000. Because I was new at this point in time, because I had no history with the printer, I couldn't have got the same terms with the printer in terms of credit because I had no back history with them.
Mm.
So then at the end of that 30 days, when I go to collect my money from the shop, so we're now month 3, if that shop is late or they don't pay me or anything like that, I'd have to chase up that money. Mm. However, said printer now wants another 5,000.
Yeah. Month 3, yeah.
Month 3. I decided at that point in time it was too big a risk.
Right.
So that's why I decided that if anything goes wrong in that chain, I'm messed up. So unfortunately, I decided, to call it off because of the financial risk at the time. I did not have the disposable income, even or the investment to sustain it for as long as it needed to before it picked up. Yeah, that's why I wish I had GoDaddy or Indiegogo.
Any of those crowdfunding platforms.
Because, at the time I had people that were really passionate about the magazine that weren't involved in the project, but they were in forums and stuff and that excited about seeing this.
Yeah.
And now we have platforms that allow you to touch base with fans and they can get involved in helping you realize that your dream in order to help them. So,
Interesting. Jeez, and that was the one prior to Ghana. Jeez, how many
That was the
hats
one
do you?
that was the one, I guess, most notable. There's all, little schemes that you do and stuff, but that was, I guess, the biggest thing I did in terms of having people involved.
Right, gotcha.
And then, so then after that, I had a good friend, my closest friend, he invited me out to Ghana.
How old? What year? So I'm just looking at your timeline. This is...
How old was this? This was probably around 07, 08, maybe. I'd be lying if I knew the exact year.
No worries.
But we went out there, I think, one Christmas,
Just pleasure? There was no business
No.
aspect behind that. Okay.
It was just pleasure, just having fun and stuff. And, seeing Ghana at that time, you could see how it looked like London minus 50, 60 years.
Okay.
So
I don't know what that means.
So what
I just went, okay. And I went, actually, wait a minute. I don't let Lisimba get away with that.
So what I meant by that is that it was like looking at a major city back in time.
Okay.
So there were certain things where it lacked certain infrastructure.
Right, gotcha. Okay. Fine.
But you knew that it was coming. And you could see that, okay, whoever implements said infrastructure, there's a huge opportunity for them,
right,
so to speak. But I think at that time it was just a holiday, and
check it out, just enjoying yourself.
Yeah. If I remember correctly, my friend might correct me on this, but I think we went out there maybe a year later. But then we saw like how quick things were moving.
Right.
You know what I mean? And like the rate of progress and stuff, and like the huge opportunities. And within 3 months, packed bags moved. Gone to Ghana. Yeah. It was like,
because you just felt you needed to be in and amongst a developing landscape. I mean, like, what do you mean, like 3 months? Like, it just packed bags and went. Like,
basically,
who does this?
You know what it was? It was like literally, look, I'd seen like the opportunity pass me by once.
What opportunity though?
Just like seeing a country develop,
right,
and being like, if I had been stuck in this, state my claim in any shape or form, in any form of business, and being able to grow with the country. At the time, I can't remember exactly what it was, but Ghana was recognized at that time for the fastest growing economy in Africa.
Right, gotcha, yeah.
And it made me think that, look, I'm not sleeping or resting on my laurels. Like, this is where I need to be. Like, I need to make a decision, and just go for it.
That takes a certain type of mind frame. Every country and every city and every town, village. I mean, albeit at certain pace, but they're always developing. So I get it. I get what you're saying. Like, Ghana was seen particularly as one of the fastest developing countries within Africa. So you felt, okay, well, I need to be there, but you don't know specifically what you were going to do whilst you were there, but you just felt you needed to be there.
So the plan was always to do like property.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was like one of the key things that I see there. Because at the time,
management, building. When you say property,
to build property. Because at the time there, when you paid for rent, you paid a year in advance.
Okay.
Even when I left, it was still a year in advance. So the opportunity to build something and then rent it out, and then you're collecting a year in advance for a tower block, if you like, that's good money. Then right. You can forget about it for a year, and then you come knocking again in a year for my rent.
That's so fascinating. Like, I'm only saying that because I'm putting myself in your shoes or your position, and just thinking, Ade, would you ever do that? I wouldn't know where to even begin or how to start, but I guess you just have to be there to figure it out. Because, what expertise did you have to build buildings and towers? Yeah.
I had none. Zero expertise. You don't necessarily have to know how to do it, because the knowledge is out there. It's just execution. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, now we're in a time of there's YouTube, there's books, there's people you can speak to. It's just, are you prepared to figure it out?
Yeah.
I look at Musk. Musk is he's planning to go. Yes. Right. Yeah,
sorry.
Elon Musk. Sorry.
Just the way you say it is like you're bros, you know what I mean? Like, you guys are buddies. Just, I'm going to call Musk right now. He's going to come down, coffee. Yeah,
Elon Musk. He's doing phenomenal things. Like, he went from software as a service businesses to doing sending stuff. He wants to send something to Mars. Like, how big of a transition is that?
I think he wants to also connect our brains to computers, doesn't he?
Wants to connect our brains to computers. He's doing like self-driving cars. He's doing like a tunneling machine.
Yeah.
Like, do you know what I mean? Like, did he know how to build spaceships before he started? No.
I hear you.
He figured it out.
For sure, I like it. The concept or the story behind it is figuring it out.
Yeah.
But what happened then in Ghana?
Oof. A lot happened in Ghana. A lot happened in Ghana. I think Ghana gave me my biggest life lessons.
Okay. Care to share?
Yeah, so I went up there, I guess, with my closest friend, and his father had a hotel out there. There was a restaurant within the hotel and so on. The restaurant perhaps wasn't doing too well at the time, and me and my friend got to manage it.
Right.
Just off the bat, manage it and implement our strategies. Like, we had free rein just to do what we want.
Right.
Like, literally, it's a business within the business, but we had the safety net. And that's where I guess I first learnt my first bits of doing business abroad, so to speak. And then from there was a partnership formed. We went into the bar business.
Okay.
I guess with that partnership at this point in time, there's only so much I can say, but it didn't work out too well. There was also some partnerships with some land as well, but again, it didn't go as well as expected because paperwork wasn't tight. But yeah, I'm just being honest. There's only so much I can perhaps talk about that, but it meant losing a lot of money. My foray in business over there independently is at a restaurant over there, which was called Patty and Ting, which was a Caribbean restaurant. And again, it was the same blueprint in that I never opened a restaurant independently before. Yeah, I had worked within the restaurant, within the hotel, but as I said earlier in this conversation, that's not representation of an entrepreneur. I didn't take the risk. You see what I mean? Right. Now it's me on my own, taking the risk by myself, and opening this restaurant from scratch. Literally walking into an empty building, getting the builders to build this thing, putting up the tiles, designing where I want everything, getting the kitchenware, training the cooks myself, figuring out the recipes, going and getting the food from suppliers, everything to do with that restaurant.
Right.
I did by myself.
How long did you do that?
So that went on for, I think it was about 6 months or so. I think it went on for. So I guess one of the big lessons I learned from doing business in Ghana, I guess this can apply to doing business anywhere abroad, is you're exposed to currency. So basically, ingredients that I needed had to be imported. Even like chicken, it might sound strange, but like so many ingredients that maybe some other countries might have themselves were imported. So the chicken was imported, the spices were imported, the special type of flour that I needed for the patties was imported. So it meant that I was at the mercy of the currency.
Yeah, I get that.
And at the time, the currency depreciated, if I remember right, from almost like 3 cedis to a pound to almost like 7 cedis to a pound in a matter of months. I'd get stock, chicken if you like. And by the time I sold my jerk chicken, the cost to buy new jerk chicken was less than the profit I had just made.
Yeah, the margins weren't great.
Yeah. And this went on for months and months and months. Staff needed to be paid. I had to pay for other licenses and stuff. And it was like it wasn't working. Like, I was always in a deficit every month. So at the time I thought, pounds doing strong. I'll come back to London, earn some pounds, because I had that opportunity, or I had the capability to do so, because I could leave. I had the passport to leave.
Yeah.
Came back, made some pounds. So I started working, send over some money and stuff to try and top up the business in the interim, while I had a supervisor looking after the business. But no money was going in the bank account, and I quickly learned my supervisor was selling, fan ice or fan milk, which is like the local ice cream there, selling like phone credit. Like it was her own little shop within the shop.
Right.
I wasn't getting no money out of it. And yeah, I was just basically sending money into a black hole. I would say that with Ghana, you have to be on the ground.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Unfortunately, people were thinking about what can I take from the business. And yeah, unfortunately it was a black hole, so I had to wrap up shop. And sadly, yeah, I've not been to Ghana since.
Right, gotcha. So your venture right now, as we stand, or rather as we sit, you own a podcast.
Yes.
What is Intellipink?
Yeah, so Intellipink is an umbrella for a series of initiatives that allow me to help other aspiring entrepreneurs in the goals that they want to achieve. And also as well, it's for me to document the journey of entrepreneurship, not just for myself, for other people, in terms of like what it takes to actually do a business and make it succeed.
Right,
So,
okay. Why?
I guess it goes back to, it's what I enjoy.
Okay.
You know, I spent a long time trying to figure out what is it that I enjoy. And I realized that through everything that I've tried, the most common theme that I have is like, I enjoy starting new businesses. For me as well, to just being transparent, it's from a selfish angle to figure it out. To figure out what it is I'm doing next.
Okay, interesting. So Intellipink, what is it sort of products? You've got 2 podcasts, am I right in saying that?
Let's call it 1.5. So I have one at the moment,
Right.
Diversity All-Star.
Right.
So that's where I interview, new entrepreneurs every week. And I'm quite mindful in doing that podcast that I do perhaps speak to entrepreneurs of all backgrounds, because that's important for me to share their journeys.
Yeah.
So to
So
speak.
you call it diversity.
Yes.
So are they people of colour, or have you got people who aren't of colour?
There's something to learn from people from all backgrounds, and everybody from all backgrounds has something to share, and they have the right to be heard.
Yeah.
I guess at this point in time, I'm guilty of perhaps speaking to 99.9% Black entrepreneurs. I say 99.9 because I've just interviewed somebody from an Asian background, but I am reaching out, and I do have plans to speak to people from more diverse backgrounds.
What's this 0.5? This.
So the 0.5 is I'm working on a second podcast. I've got a couple edited. Haven't really launched it yet. I do plan to launch it this week,
Okay.
and that's called Blog Talk DJ.
Blog Talk DJ.
Yes.
Wow, you and your name. You ain't making it easy.
So-
Blog Talking DJ. Okay.
Yeah. So basically, with this podcast, it's more around online marketing and growth hacks that people have used to grow their businesses online.
Okay.
And the reason why it's called Blog Talk DJ is I'm just reading blog posts.
Oh, okay.
So I'm taking blog posts and sharing them or introducing them to a new audience that might not come across them.
Right, gotcha. Do you credit?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
So for the show notes for every episode, I will link back to the original blog post.
Right, gotcha.
Yeah, because there's loads of bloggers out there that got some, phenomenal articles, if you like, or blog posts, and they need to be shared.
Right. So I guess let's speak about podcasts.
Yeah.
Since we're on a podcast right now, my one.
Sure.
How do you do it?
How do I record?
Right. Yeah, not even just record. Let's start from the birth
Mm.
and how you've got it to this stage now. So, Diversity All Stars.
Yeah.
We understand that you are getting in touch with entrepreneurs
Yeah.
from a diverse background
Yeah.
for them to teach exactly how it is they've done what they do. Because that echoes exactly what Blacticulate does, right?
Yeah.
We're brothers in arms here,
Sure,
and I always
sure.
say that to you, don't I?
Mm.
And that's why I love your podcast. So guys, honestly, if you've never heard of Diversity All Stars, please check it out. My brother is killing it. He's smashing it. He's got phenomenal people, but also he's got really, really actionable takeaways.
Mhm.
So please do check it out, guys. Please check it out.
Thank you.
No, it's all blessed, man. Do you know what I mean? Because credit where credit due. How do you go about your process? How do you go about recording? How do you go about booking talent? And how do you go about marketing and promoting?
Cool. So to start with the first one, recording.
Yes.
The first piece of kit that I bought is the Zoom H4n. which is a recorder, which I see you kindly have here today.
I do, sir.
A nice piece of kit. So I use my Zoom H4n. It allows me to take it on the road. It's quite portable. Or if I have to do a recording with someone over the internet, i.e. Skype or WhatsApp calling or a telephone call, it allows me to just plug that in as well. Neat trick about it as well, it allows me to split the tracks. So perhaps if I'm doing Skype calls and so on, I can have the audio for the guest and the audio for myself as well, which is neat in case I stutter and I want to re-record what I said. I can do that in post-edit and stuff, and it just gives you a bit more variety and options.
So recorder, digital recorder, H4n Zoom, and then regarding I have issues with noise.
Yeah.
I really do. Like for me, it's one of my bugbears, and unfortunately I always go to where, I say unfortunately, I want to make my guests feel as comfortable as possible, so I try and go to them as often as I can. But then that tends to actually mean we meet in a cafe, which is noisy and it's not a controlled environment.
Yeah.
So how do you overcome that?
So in terms of where I've done my previous recordings, outside of obviously Skype and internet where I do that at home, I've met people at the National Theatre, which you kindly introduced me to, which we're here today doing a recording. Yeah, this is great. You come here first thing in the morning. You can normally find a nice little quiet spot. Security guards don't normally trouble you.
No.
So this is a great little hangout, if you like.
But ideally, you'd want to be in a studio.
I've never done one in the studio.
Right.
Never done one in the studio. I've gone to people a few times I've done meeting offices a few times. At a later point in time, perhaps I would like to, I forgot what you call it, where you're a member of these offices. I think it's called shared offices or something.
Yeah, co-working spaces.
Yeah, where I can get access to meeting rooms and perhaps use that. Because I recently did an interview with Linda Mbagu, which Hugh also kindly introduced me to.
She's phenomenal.
Yeah, so she is a member of Level 8, which I believe is in East London.
Right.
And we met there in a meeting room, nice and quiet. So I almost wanted to go along maybe the similar path. But with that kind of thing, I almost want the business to pay for itself.
Yeah.
Because that can kind of get quite expensive after a while.
For sure.
Which is why I've also launched Patreon.
So yes, speak more about that.
Yeah, so Patreon is a way for them to contribute to ideas or things that people are doing that they love.
Right.
So if you're an artist, you're making music, you want them to make more music, sign up to the Patreon. And basically you make monthly contributions and they can give you more potentially Patreon exclusive followers.
Is that a noun or is that an actual software or what is that? I've never come across, I know patronage, but I've never known Patreon. So, but I get it. I mean,
I don't know if it's a noun or not, but I know they have the website and
then you just plugged it into your site.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Basically.
And then the back end, what, PayPal? And what cut do they take, if any?
I've got nobody signed up in a moment.
Oh, what? Nope. Guys, you need to sort this out. You need to push this. Do you push this?
No, I'm not pushing it at the moment.
Then, of course, if no one knows about it, then...
I've mentioned it in a couple episodes. I'm not pushed it. The reason why I perhaps not pushed it too much yet is I'm a great believer in value first. Do you know what I mean?
Okay.
So I almost want to get to the point where I'm giving so much value, I'm borrowing this line from somebody else, that I will guilt people into becoming Patreons.
Right, gotcha.
So at the moment, I do believe I'm providing good value.
Well, it's actually funny you say that because I know you categorically are providing value because there have been a plethora of people spoken to me about you and your podcast and just said how amazing it is. You can actually give a shout out. I mean, I'm sure you've got actually a mutual friend of ours who always helps promote our stuff.
Yes.
Masunde at Black Pen Writer.
Yes, that's correct. Yeah. Amazing shout out to her. She has been she's just a star.
And what about also Berry from Podcast of Color?
She's doing amazing work.
Her stuff is phenomenal. I say her stuff, basically, guys, if you check out Podcast of Color, spelled the American way color, because she's American, It is a index. It's a directory of people of color podcasts. She does a lot of things within helping build our community. So
100% shout out to them, and they're doing phenomenal work. And one thing that they get is like value first.
yeah.
Love to them.
So you guilt them into being a patron. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So when it starts making money in itself, then you can start investing in potentially having membership in these exclusive clubs where you have access to meeting rooms, say for instance.
So
Because there is one person that did tell me something interesting who you actually introduced me to, Toby.
okay, cool.
He said, be part of the IOD,
Okay.
right? Institute of Directors. Because what they do is they give you discounts on a lot of events, which is, people who are building, starting up their business, and there's just a plethora of resources on their site to help you grow.
Yeah.
But furthermore, they have so many buildings in London
Yeah.
that you potentially can just take a guest right in
Oh,
there,
really?
and there'll be quiet spots.
Okay.
So look into that. For the year membership, it's only £99.
Yeah.
So I signed myself up because that's a bugbear of mine. Sound.
Yeah, it is quite annoying when you set up shop, you're ready to go, and then someone sits right next to you and they start,
like case in point.
Basically, yeah. So,
we do try, guys. So those of you who are listening, we try and make it excellent as much as possible. Sorry, I derailed you a little bit. You're going to say?
So, interestingly, what I was planning to do, because, although I'm doing podcasting, I did want to also segue into doing more YouTube as well. Perhaps, recording some of my podcast episodes and stuff.
So video content as
well. And, I was, mentioning to someone that, I don't have somewhere where I could set up shop regularly and stuff. And then when an idea that they suggested to me, which I think is an amazing idea, I don't know why I didn't think of it, is literally just touch base with a local restaurant or something like that. Find out when they have downtime or they're closed, so to speak. Because some restaurants close after lunch, maybe 2:00. So they may have a window in there where they're in there because they're preparing food and stuff, but you can actually use their facilities and do a partnership where you promote them, kind of thing. And it's funny because I watched a video where I think Grime Daily did this, where they were doing some cooking and then they partnered with the restaurant. And I don't know why it didn't come to me.
Yeah.
With that said, I reached out to a friend who I know is quite connected and was asking him like, oh, do you know anybody? And he was like, why are you doing it in a restaurant? Just come to my office. And I was like, oh, okay. So I've not been there yet to check it out. Planning to do that this week. Where's he based? He's based in London Fields, a bit far from where I am. But, if it's somewhere that I get guaranteed access to and set up regularly, then why not? Do
you believe the guests are happy to come travel? Because that's my concern. I don't want to put them out their way.
I think I will give my guests options. So the option that I will always go with is that, we can do this over Skype. However, I feel that there's more energy and it's better to meet them in person.
Yeah, 100%.
If they don't want to do that, then they can come to London Fields. If they don't want to do that, then I'll come to them, so to speak. But, I've had some amazing interviews, and I wouldn't say that the background noise spoiled it, but it could have just been that much better. And so another tip I recommend to people is there's a website called, if I can pronounce it properly, Auphonic.
Or how are you spelling that?
I think, if I remember right, it's AUPHONIC.
Okay.
But if you Google it, it will definitely come up. Every podcast I do, I run it through that.
Oh, okay.
So it autos the levels. Then there's also an additional option where it can remove some background noise. So everything that I do because I edit my podcast.
And it's free?
No, you do have to pay. I can't remember how much exactly I pay. It might be like £10 or £15, something like that per month.
Per month?
Yeah.
Okay.
And you get...
So if you batch it, then it's value for money because you can run like maybe 100 podcasts through it for that 1 month.
So the way they organize it, maybe I should have come prepared with more info, but
no, it's all good.
You get X amount of minutes per month.
Okay.
And it resets every month.
Right.
So you can, as you're recording them, whack them in there. And then we'll use some of your minutes if you like.
Yeah.
And then, you got them good to go next month and so on. And then I use that to remove some of the background noise. Now, while it removed some of it, it didn't eat out or get out everything.
Yeah, for
So yeah,
That's really, really, really interesting. So how do you do when it comes down to booking talent? Because you've got a phenomenal roster of people you've interviewed.
sure.
Like, do you do it yourself or do you have someone that does it for
All
you?
myself.
You're a one-man band at the moment, aren't you?
One-man band.
Do you surely you need help? And we'll get to
100%.
that, we'll get to that. But
Yeah,
talent.
I'm a one-man band at the moment. Booking talent. I literally just look out for anybody that I see that might be interesting to speak with. I reach out to them.
How?
So I look for their email.
Okay.
So if they own a company, I try not to send the email to the generic email. I try to find their actual email address.
Yeah.
If you Google Email Hunter, I forgot what the website's called, but if you Google Email Hunter and you sign up, it's just free. They do have a free service. You put the company's email address in there, then it will either give you all the emails that you can find for that company, or it will give you the naming convention.
Yes.
So whether that company does first initial, then surname, or it does first name, last name, it will give you the convention. So you can use that to try and send an email directly to the person that you need to.
Perfect.
So I normally do that. Follow up.
Yeah.
Make sure you follow up, whether it's 3-4 times, however long you need to. The person tells you, I am not interested.
Right.
And even then, most people are polite, by saying, oh, not now, because they don't want to burn bridges. And if they say not now, reach out again. Do you know what I mean? Just you keep going until you get that interview. And a lot of people are quite appreciative. Like, it's funny, someone I interviewed not too long ago, but I had been chasing him for 5 months. And by the time I actually met him, from short emails, you might think, by reading into it too much, think, oh, this person's abrupt, they're not really interested. But by the time you meet them, they're like, I'm glad, you kept pursuing. Do you know what I mean? Because that person doesn't necessarily have the time to organize rescheduling dates.
Yeah, for sure. No, I hear that. So when it comes down to, you just pretty much Google anyone that you think is interesting and then you just reach out. Do you have any zingers? Do you throw in numbers, audience, like that initial email to try and get them on board?
No, not at all. I literally just, tell people what I'm trying to do. And the truth is, I'm trying to help people from, diverse backgrounds that perhaps might not have the opportunity to listen to people that look like them, who are successful in business, hear their story and learn from them. And also as well, I feel that, we're here in the UK, in London, a lot of content I consume is all from America.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
it's funny that actually, because I was speaking to a friend literally just yesterday. And she was just going to say that the culture, the mentality between the UK versus the US is very different.
100%.
The US is they would happily spend money on self-improvement, whereupon the UK isn't about that. They'll spend money on frivolous, like just momentary fun, right? So on our final legs, promotion and distribution, how do you do it?
So promotion is perhaps one of my weak areas at the moment.
Okay.
I know exactly what to do in terms of what I need to be doing socially, whether it's using Instagram or Twitter and Snapchat and YouTube, blogging. I know exactly what to do, but not of course. There's only so many hands that I have and so much time that I have to implement stuff. So what's worked very well at the moment for me is Twitter,
right,
and promoting my podcast
on a weekly basis, because your podcast is weekly.
Yeah,
right.
So that's worked with me, but I do have plans to extend more into the Instagram, into YouTube, but there's only so much I can do. Do you know what I mean? But
so you need help.
100% I need help.
Which brings us to our final part. But I actually want to know, what is it that you need from our audience? What is it?
I need help with whether it's organization.
Okay. Right.
So anything that will ease that process, whether it's doing the show notes, doing the editing, or somebody that's perhaps willing to come on board to help me with YouTube, really want to start vlogging. Anybody that wants to get involved.
I like that. What's in it for them?
It depends what they want.
Precisely. So they should come to you and then you just have that conversation.
100%, because, different people are motivated by different things. People want exposure. Some people want money. Most want money. People want a slice of the pie when it
blows up.
It's really what happens to them. It's funny, like one of me and my friend giggle about this, but my most favorite book that I have is called The Little Red Hen.
The Little Red Hen?
Yeah, okay. It's because I think it's the book most true to life. Do you know The Little Red Hen?
No. Can you? Are you able to give it justice?
In very brief summary, it's about a hen, that was on a farm, and I asked all the animals on the farm, like, who wants to help me go pick the wheat to go make bread? One animal's like, nah. Pig said no. Horse said no. Like, everybody on the farm said no. Hen was like, cool. Hen went, picked the wheat, brought it back. Like, who will help me take this wheat to the mill to be ground into flour? I can't be bothered, I'm long. No, everybody said no. Cool. So then the hen took the wheat to the mill, ground it into flour, then was like, came back, look, I got this flour. Who will help me take this flour to the baker to help me turn it into bread? Nah, I can't be bothered. Pig said no, horse said no, rabbit said no, everybody on the farm said no. So the hen went to the baker, took this flour there, and then turned it into bread. Brought back the bread. Who will help me eat the bread? Oh, yeah. Everybody wants to help eat the bread.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I think that's just the story of life. But look, there's opportunity for people that want to jump in early. I'm more than happy to help people come on board, and then we can, break bread together.
Excellent. So my penultimate question is, how would you like to be remembered?
How would I like to be remembered? I would like to be remembered as somebody that never gave up, somebody that kept on fighting, and somebody that helped the community.
So how can people find you?
Find me. I'm on Twitter, which is Lisimba Pink. I'm on Snapchat.
How are you spelling that? Lisimba Pink. I mean, it is going to go in the show notes, guys, obviously, as always. But...
Lisimba, and then pink is in the colour. You can also find me at lisimbapink.com. Also, if you find everything to do with like the podcast and everything at intellipink.com. So that's intellipink.com.
You definitely have to get Lisimba back on for part 2s because so much we can extract from you.
Sure.
But no, thanks very much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Hey guys, we really appreciate you listening, and if you have any feedback, please leave it in the comment section below. Also, all the info about the guests, the links and the resources we speak about will be in the description below. And last but not least, please do get in touch if you can teach us how you do what it is you do. Because after all, Blacticulate is all about empowering and upskilling the community. Thanks guys, you're the best. See you soon.